Hello, and welcome to a brand new episode of Is Final Fantasy Worth It? And this is, of course, to determine whether or not paying $650 for if it's a creature card of the chosen type, then you may reveal it and put it into your hand. And of course, once it's in your hand, you can draw again, and it is cheaper after that to play. So, pretty cool and nifty little trick there. Um, Currently, this box isn't opened. I just got it just a few minutes ago. I'm going to be recording this so that I can go ahead and cut it up later and post the individual cards separately, but as is, we will just be having fun here. So we have the Herald Horn, nice little Moogle card, which is pretty cute. I should have brought some scissors down here, but I did not. So let's see if I can open this up. Already having fun, aren't we? As you can see, there's the Wizards of the Coast seal on these, and I'll be opening all these live so that, oh my gosh, so that people can see what's coming out of these decks. Now, there has been, of course, that have been showing off these collector boosters, and whether or not they are worth it has become a major question because of their high MSRP. And so the question of whether or not they are worth it has of course been arising. Right now, so far, they obviously look pretty good. These individually are going for $60 a pack, and you get 12 of them in a box. Cool. So far, so good. We see 12 there. Let's start opening them, huh? I will do a pricing video later. Check this out. They do have a little notch here to actually open them, so you don't have to open them like the chip Doritos, the Doritos bag way, really. Let's see what we got. We got the hero card. We got a wandering minstrel. This is good for town play, I believe, is what people have said. They're good. This is a good way to use towns. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you control 5 or more towns, create a 2/2 elemental creature token that's all colors. And then for Wooburg and 3, you get to add +X until end of turn, where X is the number of towns you control. The foiling on it is nice, and the extended art looks really pretty. This is coming out of Final Fantasy XIV. Noctis, Lucis, Cielum, Kenrith, Return King. This guy is an excellent planeswalker, from what I've heard. I haven't actually played him myself, but he's Wooburg color identity, which means you can play any other colors that you like in the deck with him in it. And he has a whole slew of really cool abilities. The extended art version here is obviously really gorgeous. And then his abilities are all creatures gain trample and haste on a turn for a red. For a colorless and a green, you get to put a +1/+1 on target creature, which is fantastic. For 2 and a white, you get target player gets 5 life, and then for 3 and a blue, you get a target player draws a card, and then for 4 and a black, target creature card from the graveyard. You get to put one from the graveyard on the back. So there's control, which is an amazing 5 ability. This is a great commander. Let's just try to keep these in sight. Vinat, Heart of Hydaelyn. For 1 and 2 white, you get to, whenever you cast a legendary spell, draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn. Hero Sundering, 7 in a tap. Exile non-land permanent. Transform Vinat. Activate only a sorcery. She goes from a 3/3 into Hydaelyn, the Mother Crystal, who's a god and is indestructible. She has the Blessing of Light at the beginning of combat on your turn. Put a +1/+1 counter on another target creature you control until your next turn. It gains indestructible. Pretty freaking cool. Let's see. I need to make sure the audio is working properly. Test. Yes. Okay, we're good. So that is Hydaelyn there. I am sorry if I am butchering any of the pronunciations of these cards. I know that I have not played all of the Final Fantasies. I have played 1, 2, 3, 7, and 9 extensively. I always wanted to play 8, and then after that, I kind of stopped playing Final Fantasy, although I have played 3, maybe 2 or 3 times all the way through, which is, I feel like, one of my favorite Final Fantasies, but I know that some of the later ones are really awesome as well, especially the MMO RPG ones. So this is Hasvelger of the First Brood, who's an Elder Dragon. That'll go well in a Dragon's deck. 4 and a blue, legendary creature. Flying Vigilance Ward 2, very cool. And then if you have that Herald's Horn with the dragons chosen in your creature type, this is only 3 and a blue. That's pretty cheap for a legendary creature Elder Dragon. When he enters and whenever you cast a non-creature spell, target creature gets +1/+0 until end of turn and can't be blocked this turn. That would also be fun in a Shiguru deck, just because the unblockable. And this would probably pair well with VV with the non-creature spells. Let's see what else we got. Esburst and Magicite. Look, there's the FF6 Kefka. This is a key part in the story where he turns the Espers into Magicite, and then of course you have to go around collecting Magicite and using that to build up your spells. 3 and a black, exile each opponent's graveyard. When you do, choose up to 1 target creature exiled this way. Create a token that is a copy of that card, except it's an artifact and it loses all other card types. It's cool. 1 is fun. We got a Midgar, City of Mako. Midgar is one of the key cities in Final Fantasy VII, and it enters tapped at a swamp. But you can also play the Sorcery Adventure side, which is Reactor Raid, and you may sacrifice an artifact or creature. If you do, draw 2 cards. Get a pretty land. Have a summon anima, full full art. That's pretty. This is a Saga Horror creature, enchantment creature, has a menace, 4/4. And you draw a card and you lose 1 life. And then for its fourth chapter, each opponent sacrifices a creature of their choice and loses 3 life. That's pretty nice. I like the art on this card, but it's kind of funny because he looks like he's taking a selfie. Prompto Argentum. You have haste and selfie shot. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, if at least 4 mana were spent to cast it, then create a treasure token. Ring of Lucy E. Tap to add 2 colorless. That is similar to Soul Ring, except it doesn't have the same cost as a Soul Ring. And then 2 and a tap, pay 1 life, tap target non-land permanent. I'm going to be putting the commons and uncommons into a pile over here. Omega Heartless Evolution. When it enters for each opponent, tap up to 1 target non-land permanent that opponent controls. Put X stun counters on each of those permanents and you gain X life, where X is the number of non-basic lands you control. That's goes well with the towns, I believe, because they are non-basic. So we have the Mingar over here. If you are looking to play an artifact / town deck. Tonberry. I posted a video of Tonberry yesterday or the day before. It enters with 2, or it enters with a stun counter on it. So, tap before you can actually hit with it. However, because it has first strike and death touch, it is hard to deal with early game. Let's say you get it down on your first turn, then by turn 3 you can be swinging away with it and basically destroying things. We have Insomnia Crown City. This land enters tapped, and then you get a white or a black out of it. White Mage's Staff, Job Select. Job Select's pretty cool in this set because you get the 1/1 Heroless creature token. Equipped creature has +1/+1, and whenever this creature attacks, you gain 1 life. And it's a cleric, so cast 3 to equip. I actually love the art on it because the foil version here makes the staff look very shiny. I like how it reflects. Hey, a Dragon's Wyvern. Great in draft for Final Fantasy, and you get a 2/1 flying, and then you get a 1/1 colorless hero creature token as well. So that's a good value for a fairly cheap card. So there we go. Pack 1 opened. We'll do pricing later to determine whether or not these are worth it ultimately. Let's see what Pack 2 has to offer. Excuse my sounds. We have a hero token. Very, very fun. Let's make sure we can see everything still. This is the Herald's Horn that we were messing around with earlier. I should probably put all my wrappers somewhere appropriate. We can move the tokens off. We have an Emmett Selch unsundered. I have a video of him. This is the extended art version. And you can see that he's coming out of FF14 Vigilance. When he enters or attacks, draw a card, then discard a card. Pretty solid in those blue-black control decks. And then at the beginning of your upkeep, if there are 14 or more cards in your graveyard, you can transform him. And he transforms into Hades, Sorcerer of Eld, which is a legendary creature avatar. He's a 6/6 Vigilance and Echo of the Lost. During your turn, you may play cards, any card from your graveyard. And then if a card or token will be put into your graveyard from anywhere, exile it instead. Pretty solid, excellent card all around. Van, Aspiring Sky Pirate, 2 red, legendary creature, human pirate. Haste whenever Vayne attacks. Create a treasure token. Nice for those treasure token decks, and even an artifact deck. And then whenever you sacrifice a treasure, Vayne gets +1/+0 until end of turn. He's a 2/2. Hey, we have a Xenos Galvis. He's excellent. 3 and 2 black. When he enters, choose a creature card and opponent controls until end of turn. Creatures other than Xenos, Galvis, and the chosen creature get -2/-2. When the chosen creature leaves the battlefield, transform Xenos into Shinru, Transcendent Rival. Now, we've already made a video of him, but this is the extended art version. I gotta say, the extended art version looks fantastic. We're having fun today. As this creature transforms into Shinru, choose an opponent, so you can choose a buddy there, and then whenever chosen player loses the game, you win the game. So obviously you pick the weakest, and then you just try to get him to die or her. Pretty stinking cool. And the transform here is into a dragon, so that's always exciting to have another dragon on the board. So whatever dragon triggers happen for like Lathis or whatever will happen as it transforms. Triple Triad, 3 and 3 red. At the beginning of your upkeep, each player exiles the top card of their library until end of turn. You may play the card you own exiled this way, and each other card exiled this way with lesser mana value than it without paying their mana costs. So, pretty fun way to get more cards onto the field and to play more. 3 and 3 red is fairly expensive, but possibly easy to do in Commander, especially if you're running mono red. Oron, Venerated Guardian. Vigilance. Whenever Oron attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on it. When you do, exile target creature. Defending player controls with power less than Oron's power until Oron leaves the battlefield. Anyway, you can bump this up. We'll make him more powerful, of course. And then whenever he attacks, gets that +1/+1. This will go well on a white deck. Zanarkand, Ancient Metropolis. We made a video of this one already, but I will say that Lasting Faith is one of the neater land town abilities. You get to create a 1/1 colorless hero token, and then you get a +1/+1 counter on it for each land you control. Because you're casting this at 6, you'll likely have 6 lands or something. You know, if you have mana dorks, then it does change, of course. But if this hero is entering a 6/6, and I've seen this in draft, then you have a 7/7 hero creature on the battlefield when this guy comes out. Otherwise, you get a forest out of it. It's this is a pretty foil version of it. Very, very cool. Got a cool looking swamp. All the lands are pretty. Hey, a Torgal. This guy is excellent in draft. Legendary creature wolf. Whenever you cast your first human spell, and there's a lot of humans in this set, so this is a great card to be playing out of the draft picks. That creature enters with a +1/+1 counter on it for each dog and or wolf you control, and then his additional ability of adding 1 mana of each is excellent, and so the general value of this guy is amazing for a 2-drop that you can put into any green. This is the extended art version, very pretty, very cool card. Stolen Uniform. Choose target creature you control and target equipment. Gain control of that equipment until end of turn. Attach it to the chosen creature. When you lose control of that equipment this turn, if it's attached to a creature you control, and attach it. Pretty good. I think that it's a little bit. Um, it's a little bit. It depends on the situation, of course. Depends on who you're playing, but also if you have a if you're playing a deck that has a lot of equipment, I think you can actually use this to target your own creature, and then you can also use it to target your own equipment. Um, it doesn't say that you can't, so that's pretty neat. Riata's return. Creatures you control at +3/+3 until end of turn. Return up to 2 target permanents from your graveyard to your hand. Restoration magic. This is a great card. 1 white. You get a cure. You get a Curaga. You get a Cura. For the additional abilities, you get gain 3 life and then you gain 6 life. And then it's got some combat tricks. Hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. And yeah, pretty cool all around. Ultros. The obnoxious octopus. This is straight out of Final Fantasy VI. The opera. Just a fun all around. Kind of a funny creature in that game. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, if at least 4 mana was spent to cast it, tap target creature. So some good control there, and you get to add a stun counter to it. So it'll take a couple turns to untap, and then whenever you cast a non-creature spell, if at least 8 mana was spent to cast it, put 8 counters on Ultros. And so, well, for you casting something with 8, it pretty much depends on your deck, of course. 2/1 initially, but kind of a fun little guy to be playing Ultros. Preach Wandering, search your town for a basic land card, put it on the battlefield tapped. Goes well in landfall decks, of course. And then when you search your library this way, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. Very good. Geeker Merchant. The general feeling of this one is that it's not that great of a card. Um, for 1 minute, you get to tap it, draw a card, discard a card. And then 7 and sacrifice, draw 3 cards, and it costs 1 less to activate for standard control. Kind of medium, very mid. Magic Pot. When this creature dies, create a treasure token, and for 2 in a tap, exile target card from the graveyard. Well, so far we're having a blast. Whether or not we're going to see the value out of this that you would expect from a well, over $500 cost box is unknown, but it's fun to see all these cards. I actually really like seeing them, and so at least we got that going for us. Got another hero token. A lot of hero tokens coming out of this set. This is a cool looking one. No, and it's also a wizard token. Very cool wizard looking token. Was this other one a wizard token as well? Nope, this was a knight. So we have a wizard and a knight token. Those are both cool. Oh, I haven't seen this one before. We have a Vincent Valentine. 2 and 2 black. Legendary creature, assassin. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, put a number of +1/+1 counters on Vincent Valentine equal to that creature's power. Whenever Vincent Valentine attacks, he may transform it. It's pretty easy to transform then because it's a when he attacks. That's one of the storm foils, right? That's pretty cool looking. He turns into a Galian beast, which has trample lifelink, and when he dies, return it to the battlefield tapped, front face up. So he's a 3/2. Not a very huge card, but maybe if you can get some counters onto him. He doesn't exile when he transforms, so turning him over with counters, you can make this something kind of big, and then that's kind of cool. Let me see the um search for the frozen esper, 1 green, and destroy target artifact or enchantment its controller gains for life. Pretty good. Hey, it's Celeste Rune Knight. This is an excellent card. And is broken with what's the keyword? The one where you put it into the graveyard and then you bring it back with a -1/-1 counter, because if it comes from the graveyard, then if it entered the graveyard or was cast from the graveyard, then it gets a +1 counter on it. So you'll end up getting nullifying out its -1 counter, and therefore it ends up being a way you can do infinite damage with certain creatures. I think it was a mud rot. We'll have to check on that, but overall, Celestial Knight is really cool. You can, when it enters, discard any number of cards and then draw that many cards +1. And then whenever one or more creatures you control enters, if one or more of them were cast from the graveyard or were cast from the or was cast entered from the graveyard or cast from the graveyard, then put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. So that is pretty neat. Celeste is awesome. Let's see, we got Sefer Alamani. Whenever a creature you control attacks alone, it gains double strike until end of turn. And Firecross, whenever he Almasi deals combat damage to a player, you may cast target instant or sorcery with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard without paying its mana cost. And if that spell would be put in your graveyard, exile it instead. Pretty cool. Sefer Alamasi. Kefka, Dancing Mad. This card is crazy. 5 black and red, and then he has indestructible on your turn, and then at the beginning of your end step, exile a card at random from each opponent's graveyard. You may cast any number of spells from among the cards exiled this way without paying their mana cost. Then each player who owns a spell you cast this way loses life equal to its value. Such a cool card. I love the art on it. Very cool looking. We have another Vincent Valentine. This is the non-full art of it. And then the transform from the Galleon Beast as we saw earlier. So there's the island. Secret Rendezvous. You and target creature, target opponent each draw 3 cards. Each draw 3 cards. That's pretty cool. It would be very fun in Commander, actually, especially if you have a group hug deck. I know that some people just love building group hug decks, and so keep on doing so. This guy has been said to be good in draft. When he enters, you gain 3 life, and then at the beginning of your end step, if there are 6 more permanent cards in your graveyard, he transforms into Neo X Death Dimensions End, which is a star 3, and then his power is equal to the number of permanent cards in your graveyard, which is pretty good. Cloud of Darkness. When Cloud of Darkness enters, target creature an opponent controls gets -X until end of turn, where X is the number of permanent cards in your graveyard. Pretty good in certain situations. Pretty cool art, I would say. There's just like people that are being taken into like this Orby thing here, which is pretty cool. Adalbert Steiner, he's very good in draft and limited, is what I've heard. Because the +1/+1 for each equipment you control actually applies whether or not he is wearing those equipments or not. We have Albet Salvagers, also good in draft. Whenever this creature enters, whenever this creature or another creature or artifact you control dies, target opponent loses 1 life, and you gain 1 life. Pretty good. Haste magic. Target creature gets +1 or +3/+1 and gains haste until end of turn. Exile top of your card at library. You may play it until your next end step. Pretty good. You get the card coming off the top there. Iron Giant. I've heard this guy's pretty solid. In terms of just basic creatures, but he doesn't actually give you anything other than Vigilance, Reach, and Trample, which is quite a bit, but he costs 7, which is also pretty expensive. 7 colorless, though, so you can put him in any nice colorless deck that you're looking to add him to. And then a Gaelic Cat. 2 and a white, you get Flying Vigilance, and as long as you control 2 or more artifacts, this creature gets +2/+0. Pretty good. Pretty cool so far. I'm having a lot of fun. We're on to our 4th collective booster. Let's see. So we have a hero. The hero is playing a liar, so he's more of a bard, I suppose, in that case. I don't see any weapons, although if you're hitting someone with a harp, I suppose it's a reasonable weapon. Also on the back of it's a robot warrior, which is always a fun one. Goes with the mechs. We have an Aerith Gainsborough. It's the extended art foil, which is really pretty. Lifelink, whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on her, and then whenever she dies, put a X +1/+1 counters on each legendary creature, where X is the number of +1/+1 counters on Aerith. So pretty solid there. Thrum the Visage, Lightning Bolt. This is pretty cool extended art. It does 3 damage to any target. Hey! Extended art version of Terra, Herald of Hope. Red, white, and black. And a human wizard warrior. So any wizard decks can use her. Trance, at the beginning of combat on your turn, mill 2 cards. She gains flying until end of turn. Whenever Terra deals combat damage to a player, you may pay 2 colorless. And when you do, return 2 generic mana, and then when you do return target creature card with power 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield tap. Goes well in those red white smaller power decks. We have a summon Primal Odin, 4 and 2 black. Destroy target creature an opponent controls. This creature gains whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, that player loses the game. This second step has been broken now, so you just need a Rogue's Passage and 4 mana to have a player lose the game during the second chapter. And then if you can equip this guy with like a Myriad sword, then you can win the game with just 4 and 2 black and then an extra chapter, assuming that this guy stays on the board. Which, because he's an enchantment creature, he can still go down to removal. And then chapter 3, draw 2 cards. Each player loses 2 life. Pretty good. And then he's also a 5/3 while he's on the board. You're supposed to sack him after chapter 3, I believe. Doesn't actually say this, but that's how these sagas have been. But if you have a blood moon, apparently you can freeze him at whatever stage that he's at. Cyan, also from FF6, one of those fun guys. 6 and a white. It's a legendary creature, human samurai. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each creature card in your graveyard. Double strike. Whenever 1 or more creature cards leave your graveyard, put a +1/+1 counter on Cyan. There will be no mercy for thee. 3/3. Yeah, here's a pretty funny character. He like always talked in formal ways. Double strike 3/3 is really strong. At a cost of 7. Anyway, you can cheat him out is nice. The fact that it costs 1 less for each creature card in your graveyard means Mill would be able to get him out quicker. The leaving of the graveyard, putting +1/+1 counters on it is really helpful for certain decks, of course. Any kind of graveyard recursion would be nice to have with this guy. Ultima! Destroy all artifacts and creatures in the turn. The end of the turn is helpful for stopping any creature dying effects, so that can be really useful in certain ways. And then, of course, the board wipe is really useful in many, many situations. 3 and 2 white. Hey, we got a land. Got a plains. That's pretty cool looking. Summon GF Ifrit. You may discard a card. If you do, draw a card and then add a red. So. Garnet, Princess of Alexandria. Lifelink. Whenever she attacks, you may remove a lore counter from each number of sagas you control. Oh my gosh. This goes so well with the Summon Primal Odin. It's not even funny. But creating a green, white, and black deck is obviously its own challenge. However, being able to remove a counter whenever it gets to chapter 3 and removing that counter would be pretty cool. Or, sorry, rather going chapter 2 to chapter 1 and then repeating chapter 2 over and over again would be pretty sweet. So that's actually a pretty cool card. Self-destruct. Target creature you control deals X damage to any other target, and X damage to itself, where X is its power. Evil Reawakened. Return target creature from your graveyard to the battlefield with 2 +1/+1 counters on it. Pretty good for 5. Frey Crescent, 1 red. During your turn, she has flying, and then tap to add a red. That's pretty good. But you can only use it to equip, to cast an equipment spell or to activate an equipment ability. Depends on the situation. So. Magic, Damper, 1 blue. Target creature you control gets a +1/+1 and gains hexproof until end of turn. Untap it. Good control right there. Paladin's Arms. Drop select. Equip creature is a +2/+1 and has ward 1 and is a knight in addition to its other types. And it costs 4 to equip. Thunder Magic. This card has been seen to be great in draft. The Thunder Thanaga 2/4/8 damage is actually really good, especially in limited. And for its cheap cost, that 3 is, well, I guess it's technically 1 red and 3 is for 4 damages. It's actually pretty solid. Booster 5. Okay. Hope I know how to count. Yeah, we still got 7 left to go. Another hero token. Got a whole variety of hero tokens here. This is this one has a tail. Go figure. The other side of it is a treasure token. We have a summon, Brynhilder, 1 in a red. Exile the top card of your library. During any turn, you can put a lore counter on this saga, and you may play that card. Pretty good. Give me 1 second while I take this opportunity to do something really quick. I am having fun here. This is the most awesome time I've ever had. The fun part of this is getting to see all the cards. I actually really like that. It's kind of why you get into Magic, obviously, to see a lot of cards, but to also have, the ability to, let's see, let me just rearrange some things here. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Shoot. You're able to hear the audio there, huh? Let's see. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay, so exile top card of your library. During any turn, you may put a lore counter onto this saga, and you may play that card. During any turn you put a lore counter on this saga, you may play that card. So you do have to put a lore counter on it. When you next cast a creature spell this turn, it gains haste until end of turn. So it gives things haste, and it's also a 2/1 Saga Knight creature. Pretty okay. Probably very useful in certain decks. You're looking at decks that would be like the uh, mono red, or even, I don't know. I'm not sure where this would be useful actually. Okay, so we have Orphan, Cocoon, C3, black and green and a blue. During each of your turns, you may play a land and cast a permanent spell from each permanent type from your graveyard. This is Maldrotha, the Gravetide, and the extended art on this is really cool. It's a 6/6, and the Maldrotha is actually a fairly commonly used commander, so this is actually a really cool card. Terra, Magical Adept, 1 red and a green. When she enters, mill 5 cards, put up to 1 enchantment card milled this way into your hand. Create an enchantment decks, and then she also has trance for 4 green and a red. Exile her, transform her. She transforms into the 6/6 saga, where you can create a token that's a copy of a target non-legendary enchantment you control. It gains haste, and if it's a saga, put up to 3 lore counters on it. Sacrifice it at the beginning of your next end step. And then it's chapter 4 is add Wooburg, add double Wooburg, and then you exile her and return her to the battlefield, which is enough mana to transform her again, I believe. And so that's pretty cool. Hey, we got a Siegfried, famous swordsman, human warrior rogue, good in those rogue decks. It has menace, and then when he enters, mill 3 cards, and then put X +1/+1 counters on him, where X is twice the number of creature cards in your graveyard. Pretty cool. It's also the extended art version of that guy, so pretty neat. We have Genova, Ancient Calamity, 2 black and a green. She's an alien, and at the beginning of combat on your turn, put a number of +1/+1 counters each equal to Genova's power on up to 1 other target creature. That creature becomes a mutant in addition to its other types, and then whenever a mutant you control dies during your turn, you draw cards equal to its power. So enabling that draw, which is really helpful. Hey, Genji Glove. This card's amazing, especially when paired with Lightning. Genji Glove, 5 mana cost. Equipped creature has double strike, and whenever that equipped creature attacks, if it's the first combat phase of the turn, untap it. After this phase, there's an additional combat phase. This card's amazing and can go in any number of decks. Obviously, it's great for equipment decks, but it's also great for any decks that need those additional combat phases and an equipped creature with double strike. For 5 and 3, it's slightly more expensive than a Leyline Axe, which obviously can come out if it's in your opening hand. Same equip costs, but the additional ability of this is actually really strong. Forest, very cool. Hey, we have half of the Ragnarok. Fang, Fearless, LC. I was jokingly calling her Icy before, and that she's cool for those hot summer days. It's one of those foils, very pretty. 2 black, and whenever one of our cards leave your graveyard, you draw a card and lose 1 life. This ability triggers only once per turn, and then it melds with Vanille. And this is the bottom half of the Ragnarok, who is Vigilance, Menace, Trample, Reach, Haste, and when he dies, destroy target permanent and return target non-legendary permanent from your graveyard to the battlefield. One of those search foils. And 7/6 if you get both pieces of that, which you probably can in constructed. I'm gonna go ahead and set that in the uncommons of the rares and mythics deck. Another Torgal, also a very great card. Whenever you cast your first human, we already talked about him. And then you get the add 1 mana of each color. Shan Toto, Tactician, Magician, excellent card. And then basically, if you cast a non-creature spell, it gets +X until end of turn, where X is the amount of mana spent to cast that spell, and if X is 4 or more, draw a card. This card is excellent, and it goes well with the VV decks, of course. Overall, I've seen that this one does really well in draft because if you cast something like Lightning Bolt or some other non-creature spell, you do get that extra X, and him becoming a 4/4 is really good. And then if you have other wizards, this is one additional wizard, of course. Cool, cool foil job. Very very nice card. Born Inspiration, attacking creature gets +2/+0 until end of turn, and it has flashback. Not too bad. Ether artifact, exile this artifact, add a blue so card. Whenever you cast the next instant or sorcery spell this turn, copy that spell. You may choose new targets for that copy. Undercity, Dire Rat. When it dies, create a treasure token, 2/2. Weapons vendor. When this creature enters, draw a card. And then if you control an equipment, you may have 1, and you can attach the equipment you control to a target creature you control. So pretty good if you have some expensive weapons to equip, which there are some that are like 8 mana cost to equip, and so you can just get those on there for 1. Bard's Bow, job select, so you get that 1/1 human hero creature token, which we do have a lot of heroes now from the tokens. And then equipped creature gets +2/+2, has reach, and is bard in addition to its other types, just in case you're looking for more bards. Barded up. Let's see. We will pull this up to the side here. I like Garnet in general. I'm going to put her in the mythics and uncommons there as well. And then let's open another pack. My gosh, we're halfway through. This is the 6th booster of the box. I'm actually really happy to see all the foiling. I like actually the foiling has been really cool to see on some of these cards. There's another Bard hero token along with a bird token. These are very popular in this deck. Realm Reborn. This is a so-so card. Other permanents you control have tap to add 1 mana of any color. That's all permanents, but at 6 mana cost for this one, it's a little expensive at the time. The extended art version here is pretty. Choose a crystal tower. 1 and 3 blue. Choose 2. Counter target spell. That's always great. And then return target permanent to its owner's hand. That's always fun. Tap all creatures your opponent controls. That's very strong. And then draw a card. Pretty good for control. Coin of Fate. 1 on a white. When this artifact enters, surveil 1. 3 and a white. Tap. Exile 2 creature cards from your graveyard. Sacrifice this artifact as an opponent. An opponent chooses one of the exiled cards. You put that card in the bottom of your library, return the other to your battlefield tapped, and you become the monarch. Good for those monarch seeking decks. Another Aerith Gainsborough. We already went over her. Hey, Chakra Seeker of Paradise. This is an excellent card. The 1 green, white, and a blue legendary creature. Whenever one or more birds you control attack, look at that many cards from the top of your library. This is strong in a bird deck. You may put one of them into your hand, and then any number of land cards from among them onto the battlefield tapped, and the rest in your graveyard. And then, of course, that landfall. That is very strong in these. Whenever a land you control enters, Choco gets +1/+0 until end of turn, and it's a 3/5. Pretty freaking sweet. Ninja Blades, job select, equip creature gets +1/+1, and is a ninja in addition to its. So this could go great to your Eureka deck. Has whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, draw a card, and then discard a card. That player loses life equal to the discarded mana's value. And then it only costs 2 to equip, which is pretty good. Pretty Mountain. Crystal Fragments. Equip creature gets +1/+1. Great for an equipment deck. 5 and 2 white. Exile this equipment, then return it to the battlefield transformed under its owner's hand. Summon Alexander, another saga creature. It's flying for 3. Prevent chapters 1 and 2. To prevent all damage that would be dealt to creatures you control this turn. You can only activate this as a sorcery, and so these can. The first chapter will only be seen as a sorcery, and then the second chapter will be during the second turn that this is out. And then the third chapter, tap all creatures your opponents control. It's an enchantment creature's target construct, flying for 3. Not bad. Very interesting. It's the anime version. We got another Freya Crescent. 1 red. Already talked about that one. Reach the Horizon. 3 and a green. Search your library for up to 2 basic land cards and or town cards with different names. Put them onto the battlefield tapped and then shuffle. This is excellent, and especially in a town deck. Very nice. Demon Wall, Defender Menace. As long as this creature has a counter on it, it can attack as though it didn't have Defender. And then for 6, 5 and a black, you can put 2 +1/+1 counters on this creature. Pretty solid. The Thief's Knife. I've seen this one used for much success. You get the job select, and then equip creature gets +1/+1 and has. Whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, draw a card and is a rogue in addition to its other types. So that ability is fantastic. +1/+1 counter, or the +1/+1 on it is great, and then the rogue is pretty good as well. So Hagen, I've seen this one work well in draft. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, if at least 4 mana was spent to cast it, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature, and it can't be blocked this turn. This would go well in anything that is like an unblockable, desires unblockable, like the Shiguru decks. So that's pretty cool. Another town. This is a blue black town, and then we have a cloud bound Moogle, which is great. Okay. I need to make some space really quick. Because my hard drive is full. So, um, let's see what we can do there. The problem here is that I do have a lot of stuff on this hard drive. It's 1 terabyte, but obviously I'm using a lot of that at this point. Let's see. Shoot. Is there anything I can get rid of really quickly? Let's do this. Move to trash. 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 Oh, I'm so sorry for this this live video going south here. uh, Trash. Shoot. It's funny because I don't use a lot of this. I have a lot of like code and such that I've written. Now it's like I don't need it anymore. So it's like, okay, so let's see if this will free up enough space at this point. Uh, 130,000 items about to be deleted. 160, 190. Okay. Cloudbound Moogle right there. I don't know when this video stopped recording, so that's great. Let's see if we can get it to record again. 300,000 items to be deleted. If we could go a little bit faster, that'd be nice. Okay. Deleting stuff. Let's move this to trash as well. A lot of stuff I don't need anymore. All right. I don't know when it stopped, which is just bad form here. So, um, I might have to record some things over again. I am not sure. Very professional here. Very professional. Okay. While it's doing that, delete 300,000 minutes. I'm going to open up our 7th booster pack. We're more than halfway through these. Having tons of fun. Tons of fun. I'm glad I was doing this live because otherwise the recording would have stopped right there. We have a bird. Bird is a word. And then we have the wizard token on the other side. Always fun to see. Another Zenarkand. As we talked about earlier, this is an excellent card with that ability, and then the fact that it also is usable as a land. This is one of the extended art ones. Very pretty. Baron Rivalry. Deadly Dispute. The additional cost, you have to sacrifice an artifact or a creature, which, I mean, if you're just sacrificing here, it's not that big of a deal. You can also sacrifice a treasure or some kind of food or something. Draw two cards and create a treasure token. That's pretty cool. That is coming out of FF4, which um, was, I think, a not as popular game, but pretty cool nonetheless. Avalanche of Sector 7, 2 in a red, legendary creature human rebel. Menace. And its power is equal to the number of artifacts your opponents control. So kind of fluctuating there on its usefulness. And whenever an opponent activates an ability of an artifact they control, which if they have a bunch of mana rocks, and this is great, it deals 1 damage to that player. So I mean, if they're playing dragons and they have like 4 or 5 mana rocks out there just to cast their dragons, then that's like 5 damage straight to the face. Rosa, Resolute White Mage, Human Noble Cleric, reach at the beginning of combat on your turn. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. It gains lifelink until end of turn. Let me just empty the trash again. Exciting. Hopefully that gives us enough space to continue to make this video. I know I had given a warning earlier that this hard disk is getting actually pretty close to full. But I have 27 gigs, so that should be enough to keep on recording for now. All right. Daniel. Telephoria. Ashian. I don't even know how to pronounce this one. 4 and a black, legendary creature, Elder Wizard. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, surveil 1, so. And then at the beginning of your end step, each opponent may sacrifice a non-token creature of their choice. Each opponent who doesn't loses 2 life for each instant and sorcery card in your graveyard. Pretty dependent on the situation, but the fact that this happens every end step, that's pretty good. And the fact that they have to sacrifice a non-token creature of their choice, that's pretty strong. Especially like if you're running some kind of sack heavy deck or some heavy removal deck. Squall Seed Mercenary. I made a video of this guy already. 2 white and black. Divide whenever a creature you control attacks alone, it gains double strike until end of turn. That's pretty solid. Double strike is amazing in this game. And then whenever Squall deals combat damage to a player, return target permanent card with mana value 3 or less from the graveyard to the battlefield. He's a 3/4. Forest with the Chocobos. Oh, it's a pretty forest. One of the Espers. Summon Esper Ramu. This comes straight out of Final Fantasy VI, which is an excellent one. 2 and 2 reds, Judgment Bolt. This creature deals damage equal to the number of non-creature, non-land cards in your graveyard to target creature your opponent controls. Pretty variable there, so it could be good, could be bad, depends on the timing. And then this could be good in a Wizards deck. Wizards control get +1/+0 until end of turn. This is the extended art version, which is actually pretty. And then the quote is actually not that great. I am Ramu, the Esper. I mean, you can tell that by the card, but I don't know why that's the quote they chose. 3/3. Hey, we got another Fang. That's the bottom one. This is a non-foil version of that same card. Whenever one or more cards leave your graveyard, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. This ability triggers only once per turn, and then obviously it turns into the bottom half of the Ragnarok. Capital City Town. Add 1 mana of any color. Pretty good. It's a 1 cost. And then it's cycling. And then it has tapped out a colorless, which is alright. Titus, Blitzball Star. Whenever an artifact you control enters, put a +1/+1 counter on Titus. He's pretty okay. Whenever he attacks, tap target creature an opponent controls. So, not bad. Not amazing. Opera Love Song. Choose one, exile the top 2 cards of your library. You may play those cards until your next end step, and then 1 or 2 target creatures get +2/+0 until end of turn. Marlboro, this guy's okay. He's got Swamp Cycling for 4 and 2 black. You get when this creature enters, each opponent discards a card, loses 2 life, and exiles the top 3 cards of their library. Pretty good slew of things that he does whenever he enters. So if you can flicker this guy, pretty good. I think I just called him Marlboro, which is the cigarette company, but he's actually Marlboro, so I mispronounced him a bit. And I don't even think they're called Marlboro. They're called something else, but those are the cigarettes that they used to have. Namazu Trader, 3 and a black. When this creature enters, you lose 1 life and create a treasure token whenever it attacks. You may sacrifice another creature or artifact. If you do, Surveil 2. Surveilling 2 is pretty good. Combat tutorial, target player draws 2 cards. Put a +1/+1 counter on up to 1 target creature you control. Pretty good for 3, not a bad card. We are on, let's see, so there's 4 left. Did I say pack 7 for the last one? I think I meant pack 7 here. Ooh. But we are having a lot of fun here. Another one of these heroes with the lyre and a frog token. Gotta love the frog token with the chef from like FF9, I believe, in the background. I really liked FF9. It was cute, and then there was like some part of the game where you had to cook. Dark Confident. I like my coffee like I like my magic cards. Dark and Confident. This card's excellent. 1 and a black. Creature, human, wizard. At the beginning of your upkeep, reveal a top card of your library. Put that card into your hand, and you lose life equal to its mana value, 2/1. So pretty solid. I like the extended art here. Very pretty. Promise fulfilled. 2 and a red. Spectacle. Exile top 2 cards of your library until your end of next turn. You may play those cards. Pretty good. Look at this extended art. Very pretty. Vincent Valentine, another one of these guys. Whenever he attacks, transform it. There's the Galleon Beast again. Van Street Thief. Whenever 1 or more scouts or pirates and or rogues you control deal combat damage to a player, exile the top card of that library. You may cast it. If you don't, create a treasure token. Whenever you cast a spell you don't own, put +1/+1 counter on each scout, pirate, or rogue you control. Good for those scout heavy, pirate heavy, rogue heavy decks. Summon Yojimbo. 3 and a white. Exile target artifact, enchantment, or tapped creature an opponent controls. All right. That's pretty good, you know, especially if they have a tapped creature right now. So you put them out, and then you exile that tapped creature. And then 2 and 3, until your next turn, creatures can't attack unless their controller pays 2 mana for each of those creatures. Pretty good. Tax for attacking. And then create X treasure tokens, where X is the number of opponents who control a creature with power 4 or greater. And then this is a Saga Samurai, and he's got Vigilance, and he's a 5/5. So he's pretty solid for just a 4-drop. Let's see, we got Sarah Farron, Human Citizen. The first legendary creature you cast each turn is going to cost you 2 less to cast. This will go well in a legendary creature deck. 1 green and a white. Did I say that? Let's see. At the beginning of your combat on your turn, if you control 2 or more legendary creatures, you may transform her. What does she transform into? Crystallize Sarah. Legendary artifact. So she turns into an artifact. The first legendary creature you cast costs 2 less to cast. So that's pretty good. And the legendary creatures you control get +2/+2. So all around really good for a legendary creature deck. And I can see that being very specialized. I can think of a deck that would go well in right now. This is a cool basic land. Summon Shiva. This is actually an excellent card, and I've seen it used in draft. The Summon Shiva, it taps target creature an opponent controls, and then you put a stun counter on it, so 3 and 2 blue. And then its third chapter, draw a card for each tapped creature your opponent controls. That's so you're going to be stunning the opponent's creatures, and then you're going to be drawing a card for each of those that have been tapped. So the stun counter really helps you there. And then it's a 4/5, which means you can be swinging. So that's pretty good. Zach Fair. Zach Fair enters with a +1/+1 counter on it. Target creature you control gains indestructible until end of turn, and then put Zach Fair's counters on that creature and attach an equipment that was attached to Zach Fair to that creature. Use a 0/1. Side quest, catch a fish. At the beginning of your upkeep, look at the top card of your library. If it's an artifact or creature card, you may reveal it and put it in your hand. Not bad there. And then if you put a card into your hand this way, create a food token and transform this enchantment. It transforms into Cooking Campsite, where you can add a plains, or you can pay 3, tap, sacrifice an artifact, so not this. Put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control, and then you can activate that only as a sorcery. Ride the Shupoof. It's an enchantment. Landfall, always fun. Whenever land you control enters, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. That's pretty good for a 2-drop. And then 5 and 2 green. This enchantment becomes a 7/7 beast creature in addition to its other types. Pretty solid. Pretty solid. The Prima Vista. Pretty good in a vehicle. 4 to blue. Legendary artifact. And then whenever you cast a non-creature spell, if it has at least 4 mana. If at least 4 mana was spent to cast it, the Prima Vista becomes a artifact creature until end of turn. It's got crew 2. Hey, instant ramen 2. Whenever this artifact enters, draw a card, and then the same food thing, you get 2 in a sack, and then you gain 3 life. Aerith Rescue Mission. Choose one. Take the elevator, create 3/1/1 colorless creature tokens, and then take a flight of stairs. Tap up to 3 target creatures, put a stun counter on each of them. Pretty good control right there. You get a stun 3 creatures. That's actually really powerful. Chocobo Cake. This is pretty good. Its kicker is return a land you control to its owner's hand. So if you're looking for a bounce land, that's pretty good for that, and will trigger. You can re-trigger your landfall. Target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to target creature and opponent controls. If the spell's kicked, the creature you control deals twice that much damage instead. Which, in many cases, you might actually want to kick. So, pretty useful. All right, we have 4 left to go. We're looking at pack number 8 here of 12. Whoops. Sea Doodle. It seems like we're still recording, so we're good there. Let's see what we got here. Got another hero token. It's this guy that we've seen before. And on the backside is a wizard. Very cool. Summon Leviathan. This is strong, but maybe a little bit expensive. And then the fact that it goes away after step 3 is kind of a bit of a rough situation. Makes it a lot weaker. Cool extended art. Very pretty. It's very reminiscent of the Tsunami art piece. So you During chapter 1, return each creature that isn't a kraken, leviathan, merfolk, octopus, or serpent to its owner's hand. So probably everything, unless you're playing against someone who has those, but um, in many cases you won't be. And then until end of turn for chapters 2 and 3, whenever a kraken, leviathan, merfolk, or octopus or serpent attacks, draw a card. It has Ward 2, Saga Leviathan, and it also has 6/6. So, pretty solid card. I'm going to be drawing for it. The fact that it goes away is kind of like, I think makes it rough, but otherwise pretty good. Vayne, Carudus, Solider, one in a green. It's Human Warrior with Death Touch, and whenever a creature you control with Death Touch deals combat damage to a player, that player gets 2 poison counters. Can be good for a poison deck, infect deck. Ultima, Origin of Oblivion. 5. This would be a better god if it was indestructible. As fly, it's a 4/4. And then whenever it attacks, put a blight counter on target land for as long as that land has a blight counter on it. It loses all land types and abilities. It has add a colorless. Whenever you tap a land for colorless, add an additional colorless. That can be good in the correct deck. In many decks, it's going to be just okay. And I've seen that in draft that it does get removed right away. And even though it's a flying 4/4, um, without indestructible, it's not really a god. Aerith, Last Ancient. 2 green and a white, legendary creature, human cleric druid, lifelink. At the beginning of your end step, if you gain life this turn, return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. If you gain 7 or more life this turn, return that card to the battlefield instead. Nice. Coin of Fate, we've seen this one. 1 and a white, exile 2 creature cards, sack, and then an opponent chooses one of the exiled cards, and then you get to put that on the bottom of your library to the other end of the battlefield tapped. You become the monarch. Good for a monarch deck. Let's see. Machinist Arsenal. Job select. Equip creature gets +2/+2 for each artifact you control as and is an artificier in addition to its other types. So you get to create an artificier, which could be useful in certain cases. Another pretty land. Hey, we have a vanilla. So we have got a foil vanilla. Enters mill 2 cards and then return permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. And then at the beginning of your first main phase, if you own both Vanilla and Fang, which we do now, then you get to put together Ragnarok. And this is the top side of that Ragnarok, which is a really cool looking card. So that's a fun one. Cloud of Darkness, we've seen this one before. When it enters, target creature opponent controls get X until end of turn, where X is the number of permanent cards in your graveyard. Pretty good. Ultimisia, this has been making a lot of draft rounds. People are like, oh, draft this. It's pretty good. When it enters or attacks, surveil 2, and then at the beginning of your end step, you may pay 4, 2 blue, and 2 black, and exile 8 cards from your graveyard. If you do, you get to transform it into Ultimisia, the Omnipotent. And it's Nightmare Warlock. It has Menace, and then when this creature transforms, take an extra turn after this one. That extra turn is nice, but I haven't seen this last until that gets played, and 4 and 2 black and 2 blue is fairly expensive to cast the other side of this. The foil is nice looking. All right, we got a Black Waltz number 3. Flying Death Touch, 2 black, red. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, Black Waltz number 3 deals 2 damage to each opponent. Not bad, especially if you're playing a Wizard's deck. Final Days, 2 and 2 black. Create 2 black horror creature tokens if this spell was cast from the graveyard. Um, Instead, create X of those tokens, where X is the number of creature cards in your graveyard, and then it has flashback, Ice Flan, tap and stun, 5/4. So decent at 6, gives you a little control. Cut Rub for Rare. 2 and a black. Whenever this creature enters, choose 1. Destroy target creature that was dealt damage this turn. Exile up to 2 target cards from a single graveyard. 3/2. Yeah, good in certain situations. And then destroying a target creature card that was dealt damage this turn is useful. Of course, Ice Magic, great card. Gives you some good control. 1 and a blue. It's tiered. You got Blizzard, you got Blizzara, and you got Blizzaga. You can return a target creature to its owner's hand. Good in many cases. Blizzara, target creature's owner puts it on the bottom. Puts it on their choice of either the top or the bottom of their library. And then Blizzaga for 6. Target creature's owner shuffles it into their library. Pretty decent. We're almost done. We have 3 more features left. This one and then 2 more. So this is number 9. Hey, we got a different flavor hero card. Pretty cool. And then the robot warrior in the back. The water crystal. 2 and 2 blue. Blue spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. That's nice. And then if an opponent would mill 1 or more cards, they mill that many cards plus 4 instead. That can be great in a mill deck. And then 4 and 2 blue. Each opponent mills cards equal to the number of cards in your hand. Boy, this could go in so many decks that mill. Pretty cool. Bart's Klauser, 2 in red and a white. Whenever this is a cool art, very abstract in many ways. Whenever a non-human creature you control attacks, look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may put a human creature card from among them onto the battlefield tapped and attacking. It gains indestructible until end of turn. Put the rest of your cards. Put the rest of the cards on the bottom of your library and random over. 4/4. Pretty good. Sarah Farron. We kind of talked about her already. This is the extended art version of that same card. Lightning Security Sergeant. Whenever Menace. 2 in a red. Whenever lightning deals combat damage to a player, exile the top card of your library. You may play that card for as long as you control lightning. This is the less cool lightning. Mughal's Valor. 3 and 2 white. For each creature you control, create a 1/2 white Moogle creature token with lifelink. Then creatures you control gain indestructible until end of turn. Can be good in certain cases, especially if you have a lot of creatures on board and you're defending. So good combat trick. Moogles are cute. Memories Returning. Reveal the top 5 cards of your library. Put 1 of them into your hand and then choose an opponent. They put 1 on the bottom of your library, then you put 1 on the bottom of your hand, then they put 1 on the bottom of your library, then you put the other one in your hand. It has a flashback of 7 and a blue. Plains. These looking plains. Summon Fat Chocobo. Create a 2/2 green bird creature token with whenever a land you control enters, this token gets +1/+0 until end of turn. And then 2/3/4, it creatures you control gain trample until end of turn. It's a Saga Bird 4/4. Pretty okay. Ash, Princess of Dalmasca. 2 in white. Whenever it attacks, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal an artifact card from them. Put the rest at the bottom of your library in random order. 3/2. Side quest, play Blitzball, 2 and a 3, or 2 in a red. At the beginning of combat on your turn, target creature gets +2/+0. At the end of combat on your turn, if a player has dealt 6 or more combat damage this turn, transform your enchantment. Then attach this creature attach it to a creature you control. Transforms into World Champion Celestial Weapon. Double Overdrive, equipped creature gets +2/+0 and has double strike. That's always good. Double strike is great. And then the +2 is going to just add on to it and make it more dangerous. Take some more combat damage. That's, mixed. You can get that, but also it's kind of expensive. Quinoa. Kina, Q Gourmet. Legendary creature, Q. 200 green. This guy comes out of FF9, pretty cute. If one or more tokens would be created under your control, those tokens plus a 1/1 green frog creature token are created instead. And then 2 and sack a frog, put +1/+1 counter on Kina. Choco Comet deals X damage to any target, pretty good. Create a 2/2 green creature, green bird creature token with whenever a land you control enters, this token gets +1/+0 until end of turn. Not bad. Blitzball shot. Target creature gets +3/+3 and gains trample until end of turn. Rook turret. So. Might draft it, but maybe not. Whenever another artifact you control enters, you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card. Not great. Maybe avoid that one. Loperit Scout, 2 and a green. Rabbit Scout, whenever another creature you control enters, this creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. 3/2. So, where are we at? Well, we better hope these last two have some really cool stuff in them. I haven't seen any of the chase cards in this set that people are really looking for, like the Vivi or Bahamut or any of those other ones. So it's looking like the value on this is not going to make it to its cost. I would say that Wizards of the Coast is making a, what's the word? Grand Theft Magic card player. Bird. Wizard. Oh, I like this one though. Jador Aristocratic Capital. Made a video of this one already. Very cool card. Land Town Overture. Target opponent mills half their life or half their library rounded down. Interest tapped. So for 6, that's pretty good. Newfound Adventure. You search for a plains, island, swamp, or mountain card and put it on the battlefield tapped and then shuffle. And this is 1 in a green, so it gives you some pretty good ability. This is a Farseek, obviously very fun. Another Vincent Valentine. Do you think they could have given me enough of these? Another different art of it as well. Cool. Great. Thank you. Golbez Crystal Collector. Whenever an artifact you control enters, surveil 1. It's a 1/4. And then at the beginning of your end step, if you control 4 artifacts, return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Then if you control 8 or more artifacts, each opponent loses life equal to that card's power. Life Dream Blessing. Draw X cards, where X is the greatest power among creatures you controlled as you cast this spell. If the spell was cast from exile, you gain twice X life. And this has Foretell. So you can cast it slightly earlier for 5. And Street Thief, another one of these. We've already kind of discussed one of those. Hey, a waste card. That's the cool basic colorless land. Nice looking. Summon Primal Garuda. This creature deals 4 damage to target tapped creature an opponent controls, and then another target creature you control gets +1/+0 and gains flying until end of turn. It's a Saga Harpy. Eden, Seed of the Sanctum. Land town, add a colorless, and then for 5 and tap, mill 2 cards, and then you may sacrifice this land. When you do, return another target permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. Being able to bring stuff back from the graveyard is pretty nice sometimes. Not a bad town. Good for a town deck. Side quest, Hunt the Mark. When this enchantment enters, destroy up to 1 target creature at the beginning of your end step. If the creature died under the opponent's control this turn, create a treasure token. Then, when you control 3 or more treasures, transform this enchantment. It transforms into Yizamat Ultimate Mark. Legendary creature, also a dragon. For 1 and a black, sacrifice another creature or an enchantment. It gains indestructible intent on turn. Tap it. Yeah, okay. Summon Esperuma. We already had talked about that one, so we don't have to talk about it again. We already talked about this one. Here's a Sephiroth Intervention. Not a bad kill spell if you're in draft, but not great. Otherwise, because you'll have cheaper kill spells, generally accessible, and the gain 2 life is just okay. Laughing Mad, 2 in a red. As an additional cost to cast this card, discard a card, draw 2 cards, and then it has flashback. So, not bad, not great. Oriole, 1 in a white in a generic tap target non-enchantment creature. So. A little bit of white control there. We are on our last pack of this collector booster, and so far, I've not seen any traveling chocobos. Where is it? And also, where's the Tifa Lockhart? It seems like at this point it's definitely better to go ahead and buy those singles that you're looking for and to avoid opening a bunch of collector's boosters. There are just way too many cards, and the rarity of those are pretty high. What do we see here? We see an Angelo. It's a doggo. Token legendary creature dog. Wow, this is a really cute card. On the other side of it, we see another token legendary creature dog, and that is pretty terrifying. What do we have? We have a Sin Spire's Punishment. This is an excellent rare. I've seen it a couple of times. The 4 black, green, and a blue. You get a Leviathan avatar. And then whenever it enters or attacks, exile permanent from your graveyard at random, and then create a tapped token that's a copy of that card. If the exile card is a land card, repeat this process. Pretty cool ability, excellent card. Wild Rose Rebellion, 2 blue, counter spell. Hey, always good. Counter spell is really cool, and then this is a nice extended art version of it. Here we got a Cloud Soldier. 2 green, red, and a white. When he enters, attach up to 1 equipment. So this is great for equipment decks. And then whenever he attacks, draw a card for each equipped attacking creature you control. And then if Cloud has a power 7 or greater, create true treasure tokens. He's pretty solid all around. Eunice Whistle. Reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature card. Put that card in your hand, and the rest on the bottom of your library in random order. When you reveal a creature card this way, put X +1/+1 counters on target creature you control. X is the mana value of that card. Pretty solid, I would say, but also an instant, so variable usefulness. Summon Esper Valley Garmanda, 3 in a red. Exile an instant or sorcery card from each graveyard, and then 2, 3, 4. Add a red for each lore counter on the saga, so that's pretty good. And increases each turn. We cast an instant sorcery, exile this way with this saga, and then mana of any type can be spent to cast that spell. Pretty good. Cool Saga Drake. 3/3 flying haste as well. Montoya Archon Elder. Pretty decent. 2 in blue. Whenever you scry or surveil, draw a card. He's a 1/4. There's a forced token. Ambrosia Whiteheart. bird. Whenever Ambrosia Whitehurt enters, you may return a target permanent you control to its owner's hand. And then it's got a landfall trigger. Whenever a land you control enters, it gets a +1/+0 until end of turn. Giot, King of the Dwarves, double strike. Whenever Giot or Dwarf you control enters, and whenever an equipment you control enters, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. Cool. Clash of the Icons. Funny. Choose one or more. This is 1 green. Target creature you control fights target creature and opponent controls. Not bad. Remove a lore counter from target saga you control. So it gives you control over your sagas. And then put a lore counter on target saga you control. You can also speed up your saga ability. Circle of Power. You draw 2 cards and you lose 2 life. Create a 0/1 black wizard token with whenever you cast a non-creature spell, this token deals 1 damage to each opponent. Wizards you control get +1/+0 and gain lifelink until end of turn. Pretty good for a wizard deck. Keystay Tripe, 2 blue. Whenever she enters, you may cast target instant or sorcery from the graveyard. That's pretty good. And then mana of any type can be spent to cast that spell. If that spell would be, it says a graveyard, so it doesn't have to be your graveyard. So that's actually pretty good. And then if a spell would be put in the graveyard, exile it instead. Magic Infantry, this is decent, but not great. +1/+0, as long as you control another artifact, and then search your library for a card named Magic Infantry and put it on the battlefield tapped and then shuffle. Not bad, not great. Gets all greens. Oh, look how cute that chocobo is. 1 in a green. Create a 2/2 green bird creature token with whenever a land you control enters, this token gets +1/+0 until end of turn and it has flashback. Suplex. Also FF6. 1 in a red. And you choose between dealing 3 damage to target creature and exiling it or exiling a target artifact. So as you can see, these polls were good, but missed a few of the cool chase cards that are desirable of this set. I don't think that this even came close to hitting $600 worth of rares and mythics. But I'll have another video where we add those up and see. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. And thanks for tuning in. This has been fun.